Yeah, we just we got to jump right back into it. No excuses. Got to be better. And I uh, I think as we move forward here, we just we gotta stick together and find more here going down the stretch and take the approach of sticking together and figuring out. So we got to have 2 great days of practice to play against the Nebraska team here, but we'll be ready to go.
Mike, at the D1 level, you've never had this sort of stretch of losing. I just wonder how you're dealing with it as a coach, and how do you prevent yourself? You know what your background is, but from questioning yourself at a point like this.
Well, you always and I'm like I'm mad. I'm mad. I'm disappointed in myself. I got to get these guys to play better. I got to help them more. Like, my probably greatest crutch for me is I don't want to let anybody down. I want to do my part. So when you get results like this in a stretch like this, yeah, it stinks. But I've coached a lot of games. I've been through some periods of adversity that that stretch you, and you got to fight. You got to fight through it. There's things I know that I believe in, that I know work at any level, and you got to hang on that. You got to push that through to your guys. But yeah, I just we've had some games where, man, we could have got those games. We had some other games just not good enough in the Big Ten, and I'm learning a lot as I go through this, but you always do. Every year you learn more about yourself. You learn more about your team. Learn more about the landscape of where you're at. You just gotta grind through it, and I've always done that. I'm not going to change that. So I'm disappointed in our results. It's on me. I've said that. I'm not going to sit here and throw anybody under the bus. That's not how I will ever do it. No way. And I gotta be better. We gotta be better, and we gotta continue to push forward, because that's what it's all about.
Mike, are you concerned at all with the potential long-term impact a stretch like this can have, specifically with roster retention and fan support?
Well, you worry about all that stuff, right? Because everybody wants to be around a winner. So, but I also know what I signed up for and what I took over, and we've had some great moments since I've been here of excitement. But we're in a stretch right now of, this is part of building a program. You go through peaks and valleys, and we're in a valley now. We just got to keep grinding to see if we can find some success out of it. But I think in today's landscape, that's always a concern, John. Everything is from your team, from everybody, everything. Like, it never stops, winning or losing. It's always evolving, and you got to keep evolving with it and keep working on it.
Mike, with this sort of stretch, are there any silver linings to what you've been seeing? Is there, when you look back, is there anything that you are taking away in that positive way?
There's been some growth from some guys. It's just it's really hard to hang your hat on all that stuff when you're not getting the results you want, and you've lost a bunch of games in a row. That's hard, right? That overshadows it. I think some of our young guys have gotten better. I just think some of it is we're limited. So it is what it is right now. We got to find a way to hang in there when we have some lulls in the games, to put ourselves in a position to stay connected, to find a way to win the game. So yeah, silver linings. I don't know, when you lose a bunch of games, I don't know if you ever find silver linings, but I also know I believe in what we do. I really do. I believe in how we go about it, but we gotta grind to get better.
Mike, how do you kind of balance the short term, where maybe the season, the goals that maybe you set early aren't available,
Yeah.
and the long-term development and health of the program?
Yeah. Well, number one, our mentality now is like, let's bring energy every day, so we could be spoilers and still figure things out, right? And reverse this. Why not? Like that's got to be our mindset. So are you going to fight or are you going to quit? That's got to be the mentality. And we got to fight. We got guys that are fighting. After the game the other day, you saw it on our guys' faces how disappointed they were. And so it's there. Yeah, long-term growth, John, to me is every day spending time with your players and working with them and still trying to, give to them to get better. That doesn't always that you don't always see that, but it's what we do, and it could be from conversations with guys, tape, extra work in the weight room, getting extra work reps with them, making them have a clear understanding of what we're doing in the next scouting report, giving your time and effort to them all the time. Like that's how you build and work long term. That's got to be the way.
Coach, defensively, do you feel like the team still bought into that style of play, and do you feel like maybe the aggressiveness has been
We're
a
not
little
getting
bit
as many
off?
deflections, and we're making some defensive plays. We're not sustaining our defense in the half court like we did earlier in the year. Now we're playing better teams too, and that we're not guarding the ball as well as we have. Even in early January, I thought that we have some guys playing too many minutes. We have some guys banged up. Whatever. I'm not making excuses. We're not guarding the ball, and it's getting us in rotation. And that's why I think we're not defending the three. We're not pressing as much or hawking the ball as much. Some guys playing a lot of minutes. We're picking and choosing at times. I thought the other day when we picked, we decided to do it. It helped us. It helped us even getting back to the half court. But there's different reasons why we're not always doing it as much as we were before, and depth's one of them.
In a couple of the most recent games, it was kind of glaring how much you missed Puff.
Yeah.
Did you realize at the time, because he's such a Swiss Army knife, that what impact it was going to have? And can we just assume that he's not going to play from here on out? Just looking at the thing on his hand, it looks pretty ominous.
Yes. Yeah, you are correct on that. Yeah, I the number one thing I said in the summer was we got to stay healthy. And we all knew that. And losing him really hurts. But other teams lose guys too, so I'm not making an excuse, but we really miss him. I always said he's the best teammate. He's the guy that his sound approach, physical, big, makes open threes. So you have to play him. You have to guard him. You can't be gimmicky on your defense with him out there at the 4. And when he played the 5, because he's big and strong and mature, he did a heck of a job. And that gave us another added bonus with him. Yeah, so it definitely it was a tremendous loss, and I think you're seeing it why it was such a tremendous loss right now.
Coach, Washington kind of defensively made that choice to leave Nick open at the perimeter. Do you want him shooting more threes, and how do you think that impacted you guys spacing-wise?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's been playing us that way, and so it gives less space. So I want guys to shoot it that can make it, and he's made a couple, but he's got when guys like that, there's certain things we do to counter that, and at times we did that and we had some success, but you're putting you're letting a guy off the hook playing defense, and you're letting a guy where you're not attacking him, and it throws a wrench in your offensive approach at times. There's a couple things we did to counter it that we got downhill and got some plays. We just didn't do it enough.
Mike, looking at Nebraska, their team that had a swoon back in January and has,
Yep.
I think, kicked into gear now. Looking at film, looking at scouting them, what has changed for them during this past month or so?
Yeah, their defense has always been very good, and the way they collapse and just make it really, really hard for you getting to the rim and at the rim. I thought they've defended the 3 ball better after that, their losing streak. I think offensively, Bryce Williams has found his spot. He's been making plays for them. I think they've changed a little bit of the lineups to have some guys out there that are their roles have increased. I think offensively they've just been a lot more efficient scoring the basketball here in the last few weeks. So they've done a good job of playing through Bryce Williams, but other guys have really stepped up, shooting the ball, Gary, and some other guys as well. But then I think defensively, they've just been pretty much elite, keeping guys from scoring at the rim and getting consecutive scores and stuff like that.
Mike, has your press kind of been over the last 2 years as effective as maybe you had envisioned when you got here, and how do you kind of adjust if it hasn't?
Yeah, I think it's. I think at times it's been a weapon for us, John. I really do. And in some Big Ten games, it's been very good to us. It hasn't been as consistent long term as maybe as I like. I think a lot of that has to do with depth, and that's something we'll address. The other thing too is this league. Going through this league a second time, I think there's some teams we've had success pressing with and turning them over, and other teams that are a little more sound about it. I do think it's helped us where we're just not running back in defense and playing the shot clock for a full 30 seconds of half-court defense. Even though we might not be getting turnovers in the back court, teams not starting their offense until 18, 17, 16 on the clock has been beneficial to us. So there's different ways to value it. Just sheer turnovers in the back court and in the press. We've had in the last 2 years, we've had some games that have been difference makers, and we've had some games we didn't get enough of it. So, that's the evaluation part you go through all the time.
Coach, what have you liked from DeMarco, and how do you think he's handled being elevated to the starting lineup the last few games?
Yeah, I think he's played well. I think he's been a light for us. I just think he's gotten better in his 2 years here, and here he is in his last semester playing his best basketball. So I'm very proud of him. I think he just has a clearer mind, not fighting the game as much. He's been a very coachable kid. He's even more coachable now than he ever has been, and that has helped him. I think he's finding ways. Offensive confidence has really risen here. So we need that from him down the stretch here. All right, guys. Thank you.